Hi, John Marshall, the DrillMaster. I have Aviation High School. This is the armed exhibition drill. Don't know exact date on this, but it's from 2023. So the Brentwood drill competition, it says here. So if you hear some noise in the background, that's because I have a pit who is blocking the door and won't let me close my office door, and that's okay. Not a problem. So first thing I see here is a usual line formation. You're in column formation, but it's a single file line, and you're getting your distance. The team members are getting their distance. So the usual distance, the standard distance for regulation drill is an arm in front without pushing the shoulder forward, and I see a shoulder pushed forward in a couple of places there, but the shoulder, shoulder square, arm up, left arm up, and then a 6-inch gap. So, and I see larger than 6-inch gaps, but that's fine. That's okay. This is exhibition drill, and that's perfectly acceptable. Not a problem. However, spacing is inconsistent here as you begin. And I've only listened to a couple of seconds so I could cue this up and then restart it here. So I think the first command that's on this recording anyway is port arms. So it looks like maybe the team just had the command to fall in, so they know that they're going to fall in at a certain point in this formation and then move on from there. But alignment is lacking. Spacing is lacking. It's inconsistent throughout the team. So then you're not accurate when you begin, and so you don't get one of the honor guard sayings is you don't get the second chance to make a first impression, and that's a saying in pretty much any field. But it goes a long way to say that you really need to pay attention to the finer details. You have to. You really do. All right, so let's begin here. All right, so it wasn't just port arms. It was you called the team to it. Commander called the team to attention. Don't know why you called the team to attention. They're already at attention, and that's a common thing with cadets. You'll step in front of the formation, call everybody to attention because that's just what we do. But there's no need. There's no need at all. Everybody's at attention. They have already fallen in. They got their spacing as inconsistent as it is here, and then you call port arms. Let's go back here. All right, so we have the stomp step, and this is fine. It can be an interesting entrance, but it can also definitely be overused and last way too long. So now, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm Air Force. Didn't wear a beret while active duty, but I'm pretty sure the berets look odd. I'll just leave it at that. The berets look odd. From what I remember, the beret hangs down over the right ear. The crest is centered over the left eye, and it looks like you're wearing it opposite. So again, attention to detail is really going to it's a synergistic effect when you pay attention to the little tiny details. So you have the beret where the the hands at port, the rifle position at port, whether it's close to the body or a little bit away. Not that there is a specific regulation drill requirement. This is exhibition, so you can have the rifle at any position and call it port, and you could call it exhibition port. So the rifle is straight up and down, exhibition port, but then it's placed differently. So that's three things that are different now. The beret, hand positions, rifle position, spacing. So that's four things that are inconsistent with the team so far, and these are the tiny details that really make up, and not just those. I mean, I'm not talking. There's only four things that make up the team performance. There's a million things that you could talk about, but just so far, four things that are not consistent, that really impact the performance. And I have to tell you, and this might sound a little uncomfortable for the team, but this has just gone on way too long. The stomp step, I like it, I really do, when it's applied appropriately, and this doesn't do anything for your audience. It doesn't let the audience know what's coming and build excitement, and and grab your audience by the eyeballs and say, look at us, we're going to do something really awesome. Now, and I'm not talking about that you have to do these amazing tricks with the drill, with the rifle, and just such difficult stuff. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about for your level, your time, your abilities. You work within that framework, and see, look here, as you've marched in, the commander sounded like he was going to call halt, but look at the inconsistent spacing here. So even though, okay, you've got that stomp step, and that starts to build a little bit of intrigue, like, oh, okay, so what's going to happen? And then you continue, and then you continue, and you're continuing on. And I'm not bored with this, but I'm giving you a, for instance, this is what might an audience member might feel like. So you want to keep the audience engaged the whole time. And if you're starting to lose your audience and you haven't really gone into your routine yet, then there's a problem. So the 7 parts of an exhibition drill routine, I wrote that a few years ago, and it's really something that you need to pay attention to. Not because I wrote it, but because it's broken down into manageable sections. You don't eat a whole pizza all at once. You don't even eat a slice all at once. You take little bites and consume those little bites, and then you've consumed a slice. Then you move on to the next slice. And if you're a teenager, you've finished the entire pizza, and then you go to Baskin Robbins and eat ice cream, and you have a whole pitcher of well, I used to drink a whole pitcher of Pepsi as well, and I never gained an ounce because I was doing so much in my teenage years. Now it's a little different, but so this is it's oh, camera operator, please. All right, so I appreciate the fact that you have the inverse wedge here. It's nice. The wedge that points away from the judge is powerful, and so is the wedge that points towards the judge. This is good. I also appreciate that the commander stepped forward into the middle of the wedge. That's another variation that works well. I also appreciate the kneeling Queen Anne. It looks like we might have a standing Queen Anne, and then the 4 who are pointing the rifles off in different directions. This is a good thought process here to bring off some variation of technique for the report in. I like it. I really do. It communicates well. It's the execution, however, wasn't exactly there. So it was a little rough. The team members were kind of stumbling through. Maybe this was an early in the season performance, and then you would work and work and work continuously throughout the rest of the school year to improve this. So not exactly sure, but I do appreciate the work that's gone on here. So you have some planning that's gone on. And then, so Max. So the again, execution is not exactly there to be effective for your communication with your audience. But the step close, step close, step close, step close, that's like your stomp step that you were using. It's similar that you were using to come in. So it's almost a call back to that entrance, and the entrance really didn't do all that much as far as the performance is concerned. It really didn't say much in the form of design. I would definitely. So you have 9 members, and that's including. It looks like including the commander. Now, I appreciate the commander being in the center of the line and being able to just step forward. That was good planning on your part. However, I would suggest a rewrite of the entrance and have the team form up, come in first squad, second squad, third squad, and then and have that be your stomp step, if you want to. Form up over on just inside the boundary line there for the basketball court, and then move out and even swing into this straight line, having the commander in the middle. And then as soon as you swing into, and I can only, you'd have one in the middle and then one here and here. Then as you swing into the straight line, then you move forward directly into your reversed wedge there, and then have the commander also move forward with an automatic going into the present position. So it's all about timing. It's all about the counts getting into those positions, and then, but not stomping and stepping the rest of the way. Stomp, step, coming into formation, and then regular marching, coming moving the team into position, regular marching, and then moving into that reversed wedge. I really think that would be much more effective for you. It would flow better, and it would give the audience something to see that's a little different, instead of just a continuous single file line, and really no rifle work as well. So you can incorporate some rifle work in that entrance. Even if you decide to scrub or not even use anything that I've suggested, that's fine. But you might want to incorporate some rifle work for your entrance instead of just that marching. And reforming the single file line after, see how the spacing really doesn't work well here? All right, so you have a cordon, and the cordon is facing the correct way. That's great. A little bit early in the performance to form a cordon, but okay, that I can understand that. This is it's nice to be able to go from a single file line and then move up into that cordon the way you did. That's good. Still, accuracy is not there. Precision really isn't there. You've everyone marched forward. They weren't in proper alignment. As they step back, then they're still not in proper alignment. So it really brings the effectiveness of these moves down, severely limiting that effectiveness. So usually with a cordon, there is some kind of exchange that goes on. Doesn't have to be, but there's I would suggest, though, right before the right before the step back, and I appreciate that the step back. That's good. There's two variations of the cordon, but you could have done something here instead of just staying at port and using the cordon with it, however close you are, using that to be as effective as possible. So you use a cordon when you're close together. You use it for close interconnected work. So you can have a port exchange where you grab the rifle at the balance point, you come back, and then you push out to where when you step back, you really can't do that kind of exchange. It has to be a bigger, broader exchange, maybe a kick exchange or a shoulder exchange where you come down from right shoulder, you bring the rifle down to vertical, and then you toss over and you catch. So there's different exchanges that you can do when you're close in and when you're farther back, or even different rifle work that you can do when you're close in and then also farther back. Well, somebody's not happy with being there at the drill meet today. So okay, I got to tell you, that was a really interesting way to create the formation that you have now. That was fantastic. That was really, really good. Again, execution's not there, but the idea here of bringing the 4 in and then around, that was really good. Very impressive. That's, boy, I've got to watch that again. That was very interesting. Let's go back a little farther. There we go. Okay, so here, still not a lot of rifle work that is expected here. Also, before we continue, the stomps at certain times. So early on in the season, teams will usually call out a command or use a stomp or a hand slap, something like that, as a signal. So it's still a command, it's still an audible signal, but as the season then progresses, you take out the first signal, maybe the last signal, and so maybe a signal here, and you then link together without command, you link together this section like the 7 parts of an exhibition drill routine. Within each of those parts, there are different segments that you can have. So let's say you have 3 segments. Right here, after the report in, you have 3 segments. One is the close cordon, one is the wider cordon, and now we're getting into the next segment, which is going to be the formation of the 6. Let's say, yeah, it's pretty much the formation of the 6 or 8, and then the pass through. So that initial formation there, and then the pass through, that can be a couple of segments there. So for each one of these segments, instead of having a stomp, you then start to link them together so that you're just doing nothing but counting, and you don't need the signals, because the signals are what create a stopping point, and you don't want a stopping point per se. Now sometimes, yes, you definitely need a stopping point because of, let's take the silent drill platoon for a moment. When they get to the long line, there's a stopping point there after they go through all of the ripple line work. Then the inspector comes out. So they've stopped for just a few seconds, so the audience can have this visual pause. Then the inspector comes out. It's the team's block sequence, then the long line, and then the inspection part. We can just break it down into those three major areas, and there's a pause in a couple of different places, and it's a designed pause. So we don't want to pause in places like this so far, so that there's more of a flow of the work that you're doing, and it's not disjointed. So what commands do is they create a disjointed, a disjointment, a separation of this segment and that segment. I know I can, yeah, so it's the 8. Pass through for the 8, and then you come in. Yeah, that is, so, oh, and a spin too. I appreciate this. I like the spin in, and the spin outward is interesting. Oh, and you form a circle. Okay, so I thought you were going to have a tetrad in the middle and then the 4 on the outside. All right, so you come into the circle. Very interesting. There's back here, when the inside, when they're facing out, this is a really good place for some interesting work that can happen. You can have exchanges with the corners. You can have exchanges to the side with that inner circle. You can have exchanges outside, but you're doing a lot of work, a lot of marching only at port. So I suggest that you start working on just creating basic rifle movement. Even if you go through the manual of arms at certain points, that's fine. That means you're going to layer your responsibilities, and then the responsibilities are everything you have to do all at a single moment in time, and that moment in time then transitions over to another moment and another and another. So eventually you're marching through time, and not only marching, but you're using the rifle. You're doing some interesting footwork or integrated footwork with the other things that you're doing. But just marching at port is, excuse the expression, it's a little boring. So I take it by the team not performing, so I take it by the team not performing more rifle work is that you really haven't concentrated in that area. You've designed some of the drill rather effectively. Execution isn't there, but there is some effective drill design going on, and that's good. But the rifle work is quite lacking. Now, you might have seen a couple of my other videos where I talk about there's the footwork category, then the body work category, and then the equipment for you rifle work. So your drill design, your footwork is here, your body work is here, but then your rifle work is fairly low. And you have to start somewhere, and that's not a problem. But having a balance within all three of the categories is going to be very beneficial for your performance. Whereas an imbalance, a big imbalance, is not going to work very well. And here, so remember that your audience is behind this judge. It looks like the Marine is the head judge here. Yeah, that's what I'm guessing. So your audience is in the stands, and you have in the circle, you have two cadets who are performing, but you have them blocked so that they can't really be seen. You have them blocked by the three over here on my right, and then the 3 or 4 now with the commander there on the left. So people at the sides can't really see. People in front also can't really see because they were facing each other. So you've got this, they were doing some rifle work here, and you could see, okay, rifle, but not really all that much. So if they were turned this way, and then they could be seen a little better, but also moving the circle away also would help. And the audience can see some of what's going on here. I see. So, okay, so you do have some rifle spinning experience that is a few of the cadets so far. I get it now. So you're bringing in the individuals to do their specific work. And removing the beret, tucking it away in your pocket is not something that you really want to do right as you begin your routine. That should have been done if you really have to do that. And I don't understand why you would remove your beret. But if you really want to do that, then it should have been done as you were marching up. This is just an awkward transition. So when you, I understand the idea behind this, but when you are designing your drill and even the rifle work and then putting it all together, you've got to ask yourself from the audience member's perspective, how is this effective? If I'm going to watch this, I'm thinking right now of the routine design. So I have a circle here, and I have 3 people in a disjointed circle, 3 people in the center, and now I have 2 people who are moving back, and then eventually the rest of the team is going to join them. How is that going to look how is that going to come across to the audience? Are they going to have to guess what's going on here, or are they going to, even somebody who's not aware of military exhibition drill, are they going to have to guess what's going to come next, or are they, because this just brings out question marks in me, and I have experience, but if there's somebody in the audience who doesn't have the experience, they're going, why, what's this? But then again, somebody with experience, me, I'm doing the same thing. What is this? What's going on here? Why is this happening? It again, marching at port, the weighted step and the lighter step it really just doesn't flow well at all here. You had some so I'm going to go back to here for your for the cordon, the step back, the interesting formation of the circle. It all came across as very interesting ideas, not executed very well, but really interesting ideas. And then also, you look where the team is right here, as opposed to this the symbol on the floor, and look where the team ends up just before they march off. So the team is there at 5:38. So about the same place from 59 seconds, or about a minute in. So for 4.5 minutes, you're in the same place. And so you have and I'm not talking about having one cadet or two cadets march out to the corners and try and, check off that box, but you could have easily gone from this the cordon, from the step back there. From the step back, you could have gone and made the circle farther back and then spread out from there. There's a lot to be said for movement that takes the team out of its spot, and especially here for 4.5 minutes. It's just not as effective as it could be. And if you want, send me a message, and I'll help you write a new routine that will incorporate, or just do it on your own. Really, go to my website, go to the resources page, look at DrillMaster routine mapping tools, download the sheet that has it has a whole layout for, if you're drilling on basketball courts primarily, then download the basketball court and then write the work that the drill that you're going to do on the basketball court. I have it marked off for 30-inch steps, and then that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to use 30-inch steps. It just is a guide, a grid for the whole, for creating that performance. So start there. It really, if you want some help, I'll do it. I'll help you. That's not a problem. This just doesn't have the flow. It doesn't have the it has a military flavor, but it's just very disjointed in areas. I loved the transition from the step back cordon into the circle. I thought that was really good, unusual thinking. That really was. But then the rest just is like I said, very disjointed. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. The transitions aren't there, and it lacks through execution. It lacks an effectiveness that an audience would appreciate. So, all right, let's go back to this, where we are. Okay. And this stomp step, stomp step, stomp step, stomp step. Look how long this takes, the transition to do this. It's, once you report out, you need to go, and you need to perform out. And so you're entering just like, and then look at your spacing here as well. And then the leaving Oh, and the one soloist without his beret as well. So um, so you're leaving uh, in a disjointed manner as well, with the spacing and the no beret, and so there's a lot of work to be done here if you want to uh, uh, dress up this routine and get it to where it's flowing. Or still a lot of work to do, but you could then uh, start over, create a fresh routine, still have some of the work that is in here, and design a routine that flows better, and then also communicates better, and that has some layered responsibilities in there that work at the level of the cadets. Not going to put in triple tosses in there just because that doesn't work at all. You know, it has to be at the level that the cadets can handle, and you know, pushing the boundaries there just a little bit helps everybody improve as well. So anyway, I know this is probably a bit disappointing. I don't have a whole lot of positive to say about it, and I'm sorry for that. But there's not a lot to work with here, except some of the really good ideas that were in the middle. But this is the learning process. Sometimes it's a little uncomfortable, but we grow from that, and hopefully I can help you then progress from here. All right, thank you very much.